Week. My name is Madhav Bissa, and I will be your host for today. I hope everyone is staying safe in these testing times, and here's wishing everyone a healthy times ahead. I'm sure you must have enjoyed the last 3 days of the summit with some great speakers sharing their perspectives and insights within the NLP domain. With the hands-on workshops and startup showcases, I believe we all learned more about actualizing NLP's potential for India, which, by the way, as you know, is the theme for the summit. So now, to continue with this momentum, we will today expound on the topic of driving omni-channel customer engagement through text-to-speech. And to take us through with this exciting session, we have today with us Kanishka Agiwal, who heads Amazon's service lines for India, South Asia, for Amazon's worldwide public sector unit. With focus on digital innovation and deep tech, Kanishka works with governments and enterprises globally to drive AI at scale for citizen impact. Before joining Amazon, he led IBM's cognitive solutions, Watson, for travel and transportation industry globally. He has held key positions around strategy, business development, and solutions, leading global teams from concept to commerce for various offerings. Kanishka is one of the most sought after speakers for industry conferences and trade bodies on topics of AI, healthcare, travel, and transport. He also serves on the board of advisors for startups in the area of financial services and healthcare. Moreover, he is an adjunct faculty at various B schools in the areas of consulting, strategy, and communications. He has an MBA from SP Jain Institute of Management and Research and BE with computer science from MS Ramaiah Institute of Technology, India. And joining him today is Sachin Poniani, who leads business development of AI ML analytics and IoT for India and South Asia with AWS, and is helping the AWS clients modernize their applications by integrating AI and ML and IoT capabilities in the client's business solutions. He has helped multiple government and industry organizations blend their domain expertise with new technologies to build solutions that have citizen impact. He is certified in big data, analytics, and machine learning specialties with multiple master's degrees in various branches of IT, and has more than 16 years of experience in designing and implementing scalable enterprise architectures. Today, together, Kanishka and Sachin will help us in understanding the nuances of omni-channel customer engagement through text-to-speech, and will highlight an important use case on the application of NLP to strengthen customer engagement. Kanishka and Sachin, a warm welcome to you. We are excited to hear from you on how you at Amazon have driven omni-channel customer engagement through text-to-speech. So without further ado, over to you.
Thank you, Madhav. Thank you for that introduction. And on behalf of AWS, we're extremely privileged to be a part of the NLP Week. The work that NASSCOM is doing to bring this across to multiple developers, to startups, to the overall ecosystem is, I think, very commendable. So congratulations to you, Madhav, and the team at NASSCOM. I think what we'll do is, and we'll tag team between Sachin and myself over the next 50 minutes or so. We will run you through a sort of a real world example of what we see with voice of customers and how the voice of customer and the engagement around it drives to a omni-channel customer experience. Sachin will run you through the details and get to a bit of a deep dive on text-to-speech in general. Sachin, do you want to pull up the slides right now as I run through?
Lovely.
Allowing me to share. Can I just take a minute?
Sure, please.
So while Sachin, you're getting on that, to the audience here, I'm going to lay a bit of a context on what is voice of customer, right? Back in the earlier days, when you didn't have digital channels, when you didn't have social media, when you didn't have other ways of communicating to a customer, you generally had only one way to know whether the customer was satisfied, disgruntled, the ability for you to tweak offerings based on his preferences was really dependent on his purchasing behavior. So if he purchased a particular product again and again, then you knew that he probably was extremely happy with what you had provided with. But otherwise, there was no means of knowing during the entire product life cycle, during the entire ability for, during the, even the transaction point, you had no visibility on what the customer really wanted. As you started introducing the telephone, which is the call centers, as social media started proliferating, the ability for you to start bringing all of these voices together, which is and interlink this to a single customer became very, very important. And I'll give you an example. Assume you were out there flying with a particular airline, going into a hotel, checking in. Now you booked a ticket using your company ID. So there was a ID which says john@amazon.com. You went in, checked in with the airline. You then were tweeting about the entire experience, but there you were possibly John Smith at john.smith on Twitter. You wrote something that you didn't find great about the food on the airline, but you put it on Facebook and tagged the channel. On Facebook, you're just J Smith. And then when you went on to the hotel, you had another legal name provided, which was actually John Smith 2. Now, if you know, these are all the same person and they're all correlating to a similar entity, which is providing that information. For you to have that view that I'm actually receiving information from the same customer or the same entity, correlate that, bring in that single point of view around the customer and drive analytics on the behavior that he's driving, or the behavior that he's experiencing during his entire journey is what is important. Now, bring in that the entire NLP process, and Sachin, if you move on to the next slide, the entire NLP process is essentially of, hey, if I were to discuss or talk through a particular social media channel or through any channel that is provided to me by a particular organization, then would they be able to understand what I'm saying and then appropriately push out the necessary recommendation or take corrective action or pull out a necessary, whatever action has to be taken for that particular statement, then that's a very important one, right? So that's the entire voice of customer and the analytics that run behind it. So what we will do over the next 30-35 minutes is, while we'll give you a quick overview on the voice of customer analytics, which is VOCA, but then we will also have Sachin run you through the pipeline. What are the different stages of a voice of customer and the analytics around it? And then how could you use, say, for example, AWS SageMaker to actually deploy custom VOCA models? Next slide, please. This is a very good a customer that we're working with, right? So Protagonist is an entity that actually helps brands understand what kind of messaging they're receiving from their customers. So it can actually get into mining a lot of data that is coming in from their various customers. It can help organizations then start responding to those conversations that are happening. And what it uses, it typically uses Amazon Translate. I'm sure a lot of you are probably aware of this service. So Amazon Translate is a service that we provide on the AWS stack that is able to use a lot of this information coming in, translated into the necessary language that it has to come out, and then appropriately serve it to different multinational, multilingual, non-English organizations. So that's what we do using Protagonist. Next slide, please. Now, what we've observed is, if you look at what I also mentioned, right? So the entire omni-channel piece is actually integrating these various levers. So whether it's email, mobile, phone, something coming through call center, something coming through social media, even things that you're getting from networks of networks. So if you were on LinkedIn or Facebook, would you be able to get those all of those experiences together, or the chatter that you pick up from these spaces together, and start tweaking that behavior through, right? So bringing these 3, 5, 6, 10 channels into a single voice is what is the net of what we'll try to explain today. Next slide, please. This is, I mean, I think it's generally a very powerful slide that we often use to talk through on the overall endpoints that one has. If you look at what we started off way back in 2010 and 2011, when social media was just about getting started, we had early instances of Facebook, there was MySpace in those days, there was Twitter. But then as you start moving up, by 2025, we expect about 75 billion connected endpoints, which will be online. And this will not just come from your social media and the regular channels. This will come from connected devices. So data coming in from your Apple watches or any kind of watches that are today connected to the internet. So take that information, the information that people are posting online, people that may be driving up on Instagram, people that may be also sending emails, documents, which will be embedded with a number of these data points in. The ability for you to again start correlating it. And a great example is, what if I knew prior to departure that somebody's heartbeat is not okay based on his Apple Watch that's sending in that data across? So, you know, the minute I know that this heartbeat is not okay, I'll probably not take the passenger online, on board, because the cost of turning an aircraft once the person is on board, and then also the human cost of in case a mishap occurs, can be extremely huge. So if I knew that this person is ranging at 100 to 120 heartbeats per minute, then there is a problem, or his blood pressure is high, then there is a problem, and I would take prior notice to that. And that's again a connected device that we have, a connected data point that you will correlate onto a single voice of customer. Next slide, please. So, we spoke about all of this and the need for why you should have it. But essentially, what drives voice of customer? What is those tools and mechanisms that we can have to push this up and provide the necessary actions or any kind of recommendations that may come to an organization? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sachin Punyani, who will run you through with how we, what are the mechanics of doing this, and some real world use cases on how you can do this on AWS.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kanishka, for setting up the context here. Thanks a lot. So guys, Kanishka has set up a good context actually, because we are talking about the omni-channel, and we all know that multiple customers to our business actually have started interacting with multiple channels. So Kanishka did talk about the email. Again, the network is one part, but the email, social media, the simple feedback mechanism, mobiles, lots of stuff that is happening on the digital front. So we have to capture, as an organization, we have to capture the voice of the customer and take our decision making accordingly. So one is like, the very first step is that this voice of the customer, if customer is not giving the direct feedback, but whatever actions he is taking on maybe social media, he might be writing some mail, might not be talking to the customer care executive directly, but might be writing on the mail, might be expressing his concern on some other channel as well, some other media as well. Or the very common cases, like he is on a website, clicking, browsing through the pages, but simply moving out, or leaving some traces there. So lots of inputs coming together. So NLP, and the focus today is on NLP. So we know that voice of customer is coming from multiple channels, omni-channel as we say, but NLP becomes one critical part of that. And we have to bring or we have to make the bouquet of, or we have to take the channels more, rather than taking just the pure digital structured channels. We have to consider the NLP based channels as well into the voice of customer. In fact, the NLP based channels give more critical information about the customer's behavior, what customer is looking out for. So just taking what exactly is counting into the voice of the customer. So here we'll start defining where NLP part comes in, we'll see, and then accordingly how it can be analyzed and how entire solution can be knit together to understand and analyze. Because analyzing is important. Based on that analysis, organization can make a call that what action to take to retain the customer, or to engage the customer, or to maybe improve the experience of the customer. So from standard standpoint, we know that if customer is spending, so it's a standard spend that you track from a customer. What is customer's behavior? Is he continuing with the organization, or is he moving out, any exit? So all these are actually voices of the customer. So far as non-NLP based, the net promoter score that you calculate around a customer. So these are all things that come from your regular business channels. There is no NLP so far, but as we go further, we know that there are more channels which are non-structured. So any tweets, any mail coming from the customer, any message that customer is sending. Now there are multiple message channels. Customers might just do a simple chat. Organizations are working towards making their support system self-service. That means very first thing is that customer would certainly want to make a call to a customer care executive and speak something. But before that, organizations also want that, can there be some self-service model? Can there be a chatbot where customers just type in and get their responses? If the automatic chatbot is not able to answer, then certainly the voice-based calls do come into play. So there are lots of channels where things are not structured. They are into the English or maybe non-English languages. So to identify or to analyze voice of the customer, as we say, the structured inputs plus non-structured input, which are NLP based, must be integrated together to know what exactly customer wants. What is he about to leave the organization? Is he about, just take an example, a very common case of a mobile based a more telephonic customer is like, he may suddenly stop using his mobile phone. The normal the validity period of a mobile recharge is say 1 month to 2 month time period. But if the customer does not get it recharged, this is again a voice. But at the same time, customer might write certain messages to the support system, or he might write something on the Facebook or Twitter channels of say the telecom service provider. So these are the information that have to be brought together and have to be analyzed. And what outputs are we looking out for from this analysis? See, we know that whatever inputs that we are getting, what benefits? First of all, we know that customer service training, whoever are the customer service executives, they should be given proper training where the customer is not well satisfied. So taking those cues, we get to know that, okay, what were the responses, what were the scenarios where customer experience was not good enough, because eventual idea is customer experience must be improved. Second, the organization gets to know about the trends and insights, what customers are looking out for. If there are so many calls to a telecom service provider for switching for a particular broadband connection, or if there are so many calls on the complaints of one particular area or network. So all these things they get to know, because just one customer's response that, okay, in Delhi, in particular area, my mobile signals are not good, I'm not able to talk properly, is not enough. When multiple customers feedback come together, they get to know the trend and they know that what is the weak area and where they need to improve, what is the strong area where they need to put more investment in. So all these things they can get to know from the voice, which is not in their traditional ERP or their business operation systems. They also get to know a lot of information. They also get to know a lot of information on the competitive side. Very common cases when a customer is leaving, again taking the example from a telecom service provider, if a customer is leaving, a call goes from the telecom service provider that what can we do to retain you? But it may happen that customer may revert back by saying that, okay, I'm joining the X provider, I'm joining the Y provider. So this information, that which provider is giving good information, which provider is offering better plans, which provider has some more lucrative options for the customer or more lucrative top-ups, better services, you get to know. And then this gives the competitive intelligence as well. Plus, this entirely gives the unified view when the customer was happy, when he was satisfied, when the problem was solved, at what duration. So lots of information can be gathered. Now, point here is lots of NLP-based stuff has been captured, output has been designed. Now we have to, has been thought of that, yes, these benefits will accrue, but what analysis needs to be done? So analysis is like what customer is saying. We need to understand what entities he's talking about, what key phrases he's talking about, which language he's talking in, what is his sentiment. He's happy, he's sad, he's angry, lots of stuff we need to analyze. If we analyze these data points, based on that, lots of customer based information or business insights can be derived. So this is the overall business picture for the voice of the customer analysis. Now, we all know that how to do that on the structured data, but here we'll be talking more on that, how to do on the NLP part. So just understanding the VOCA, voice of the customer analysis pipeline on the different stages. This is based on some of the scenarios or some of the NLP based inputs that we have been talking about. More inputs from more voice channels can be brought in, but the same pipeline can be extended. So if we start actually, when customers write to the organization, they may have a straight text-based model, like they are writing the mail, they are chatting on the chatbot, they are putting on the forums, they have multiple mechanisms, or they are putting on the social media. Also, they may give a call to the customer care center. And then, so from where we start, from the text part, when we know everything is digitized, it is stored in the text format, we can take the steps further. But before that, let's focus on the audio part. So we have to transcribe what customer is saying. So almost all the customer care centers have one or the other tool which allows them to record all the audios or all the conversation that is happening between the agent, the customer care executive, and the customer. So the call recording that is happening, who said what, should be converted back to text to analyze and to correlate with the other text information that customer is providing. After that audio, this after that transcription, this text, transcribed text, should be processed. Now this can further be joined with the text that is coming from multiple channels. For example, for the audio recordings, text is converted, comes here, but there might be other sources, like we said, the chatbot, mails, the social media feeds. So all text comes together. Now it's a complete corpus of customer's voice that we have. And thereafter, once we have generated that corpus, we have brought it into a standard shape. We just do the analytics, multiple analytics that we talked about, key phrase analysis, entity identification, or sentiment analysis, or many more. So we can do. So these are three major blocks that we have to capture from to complete the pipeline. Now we start and try to build a solution here. So Amazon Connect is one solution which gives you, which lets you set up your automatic customer care center. But again, there might be some other tools as well. But all the tools put together, they offer functionality which allows recording of the calls, which also allow live streaming of the audio calls that are happening, so that you can analyze or transcribe the information in a real-time scenario. So both batch mode and the real-time mode are supported or are provided by different tools that are used in the setting up of a call center. Thereafter, we need some mechanism, some building block. So just giving a base description here that how things work normally in cloud or in AWS is, there are lots of services. We do talk about 175 plus services in total in AWS. So there are building blocks. Which building block to use at what particular time frame? You can you can use those building blocks for their own task. For example, Amazon Transcribe is one service which takes the audio. It may be in the recorded format, I mean in the batch mode or in the real-time mode, and it can transcribe what is being said. So the languages can be, there can be multiple languages like English, Spanish, French, many more. So the information that is coming or being spoken in those languages will be taken, transcribe will take that as input and will generate a call transcript. It can also bifurcate that how many speakers are speaking and what speaker one is saying, what speaker two is saying. So all that call transcript can be generated. So major challenge of converting the voice to text is done. Now, once this text conversion is done, so just sharing a bit information on the transcribe here. So an important point here is we said that it supports different types of audios, we did talk. Plus the benefit is it gives the timestamps that at what time, if the conversation lasted for say 10 minutes. So at 1 minute, 3 seconds, what was said, at 4 minute, 7 second duration, what was said. So it gives the information at the timestamp level. It also gives the information of multiple speakers, plus the punctuation. So all those complexities that we see normally in our conversation, it can identify and generate the transcripts. Multiple languages, as we say, it can detect those languages as well, and then accordingly transcribe. There might be scenarios which are very relevant to your business, where some words are very specific to your business. There might be some jargons. How should they be pronounced? How should they be? I mean, at times people try to use abbreviations instead of making the full phrase. So those kind of things can be customized by giving the custom vocabulary. And as we said, that identification of the multiple speakers. So major part of your transcription, or major part of the problem of identifying what is being said, is done by the transcribe, the single block. Some of the use cases where people have used transcribe, we are right now talking about the voice of the customer, but just sharing that what other use cases where this NLP based system can be used, where we have some videos and we want to automatically subtitle those videos. So just imagine that you are automatically extracting the text, what is being spoken, and then creating a standard subtitle file, normally the SRT file as we call, and then ingesting that file into the video format so that your video transcription becomes automatic. Lots of broadcasting with the closed captions, the dictation if somebody is saying. So again, we are finding multiple use cases how customer experience can be improved at multiple layers. And the call center, the use case that we are currently talking about. So some of the use cases. So point is, NLP based scenarios in improving customer use, the customer experience, it can be done at multiple places. Just the example of the protagonist that Kanishka took earlier. Protagonist actually is doing a complete narrative analytics from multiple sources for a particular brand, and then it is, after this analysis, it is letting the brand know that how people are thinking about that particular brand. So if you see, they have brought in a different use case of using this NLP based scenario. The time stamping that I just talked about. So if just an example, what is being spoken, this is the sentence, and at what second, what timestamp, what phrase is being spoken. So I am happy is being spoken at 3.4. I mean, it is starting at 3.4 second. Buy is starting at 6. Transcribe is starting at 10. So entire sequence, plus at what confidence level transcribe was able to identify, because it may happen people have different accents. So in some of the accents, if the voice is not being properly transcribed, it gives you the confidence score, so that you can decide, okay, if the confidence score is low, so in a say half an hour communication or conversation, if at certain points confidence level is low, then you and your team can go and review that stuff and modify accordingly. So it gives you the idea that where it could easily identify the stuff and where the confidence score was low. Now this call center transcription, as we talked about, how, I mean, just going on that part in bit deeper. So normally what happens is the recordings, I mean, whatever is being recorded at a center or at a call center solution, normally the voice recordings are stored into a storage area. In AWS, we have a service called Amazon S3, which is an object storage service where all the recordings can be stored. Then we can write a complete workflow that as multiple ways, like you might want to record and store all your recordings for the whole day, and at night you want to do all the analysis, or maybe as soon as a file comes, it should be triggered further for the analysis. So based on your requirements, complete workflow can be written. So it's AWS Step Functions, which is a service which lets you define your workflow, different stages, different tasks at the workflow. Finally, this workflow triggers the transcribe, and transcribe reads the recording from the storage, and finally writes the transcription again at the storage. So this entire flow that we talked about is, I mean, this is a deeper version of that flow. Here we are done with the transcription, and we know that this call transcript is now available at a storage. Now moving to the next step where we were processing. So we know that there are many more sources, many more channels of the information from the customer. So this information is coming from the regular channels, integrating with the Twitter, integrating with the mail system, with the chatbot. There is a software flow that can be defined, software flow, software pipeline that can be defined to bring all this information into a particular storage area, aggregated into a storage area. But this information is in natural language, so it's unstructured. Now this information through the Kinesis Firehose service, this is one service which takes the streaming data, Twitter streams, regular mail streams, regular chat streams. It can take and can store into, again, we are using the same storage, S3 storage here, plus the call center transcript or the call transcript, as we said, can also be brought here. So all raw data is aggregated at one place. Now, point here is when this raw data is coming, people speak when they are doing the conversation. They may not follow very structured English. They may use jargons. They may use many words which actually are just good at when we communicate, but when it comes to the analysis, they may not add much value. So those level of analysis needs to be done on the raw data to make it more meaningful and analysis ready. So that processing has to be done. Again, on the Twitter, we might get, for example, we are getting tweets. We are also getting some images. We are also getting some videos along the tweets. We are getting some hyperlinks. So there are many more things in the mail, chatbot, everywhere. So those we need to extract only the relevant things that are helpful for an analysis, and the other things which are not relevant for NLP analytics have to be left aside. So here comes the raw data, and then finally on this raw data, this processing is done once again. And to process that, there is one more service called Comprehend. Comprehend is a service which does lots of text analytics and the key phrase identification, the semantic analysis, the entity analysis. All it can do on the raw data or the processed data. So this is the next block that we were talking about. Now, the good point here is Comprehend is a pre-built model where it has been trained on billions of records from the regular communications. Now, when the text that you are receiving from multiple channels is passed through Comprehend, it has multiple functionalities. It can extract the entities that are being talked about. For example, if a customer is talking like, okay, in Delhi, in this particular area, my network is not coming well. So it can identify, okay, Delhi is one entity, it's a place. It can identify some key phrase. It can also identify if the customer is maybe the sentiments are positive, negative, neutral. Plus, good point is, you might say that some of the entities which are very specific to your use case or very specific to the organization, or maybe like I said, Delhi I identified as a place, but some other thing, some other object you might want to identify not just as the place, but some as for some other category. So it Comprehend allows you to custom train. That means you can provide your data with proper annotations, proper entities identified, and then Comprehend can train itself and create a new model. So here the benefit is we are still doing NLP based machine learning, but we are not getting into the nitty-gritties of the NLP pipeline. So what we are doing here is we are just giving the annotated data to Comprehend, and Comprehend will use the experience that Amazon already has or AWS already has on the NLP based processing. It will train the model once again and will make that model accessible to you. So it can identify the entities based on the information provided by you. Now what happens is this information as it comes, it is passed on to Comprehend. It can do the entity analysis automatically. Key phrase extraction that we talked. Language, it can detect which language in the text is coming in or the call was made. The sentiment analysis it can do automatically, and it can also do the topic analysis, that which topic is being talked about. So this is the second building block. Here what we have done is, we in the first place we converted the audio to text. we brought multiple information from multiple channels together. Then we did the analysis. So the raw data has now been processed and only relevant stuff has been extracted. Now we have got the enriched data. So the flow remains same. That again, where we talk that workflow, you can create a complete workflow joining the entire pipeline. So once this transcription is complete, the second step of comprehend will start, and will take the data from raw storage and will put into the enriched storage after the analysis. Now, next step here is all the analysis so far as that we have talked about is pure serverless. What do we mean by serverless here is whenever we are setting up and whenever we are doing any analysis or any tool that we are setting up, we might have to take some virtual machine. We might have to install our application. We might have to maintain the model, install, manage the model, different versions. But here we are talking, anywhere we have not talked about virtual machines in our entire flow. So entire analytics that we talked about is the serverless analytics. That means you just think in the functional way. That means you pass on your data, let the service, the transcribe service or the comprehend service or the further services that we'll be talking about, let these services do their job. And there is no server management. There is no overhead of managing the machine learning models, because these services are taking all the, abstracting all the nitty-gritties of the complex machine learning cycle. Now, as a next step, in the processing phase, so far as we were on all serverless, now even further, if we want to do some kind of processing, some kind of ETL, some kind of analysis, further analysis on the data, we again need not worry about setting up our servers, setting up the big data framework, setting up the machine learning frameworks. The other services like AWS Glue, this AWS Glue has multiple capabilities. One, it can automatically detect the schema. So if you have storing information in, say, some format, say CSV, JSON, Parquet, multiple formats, it can automatically detect the schema. So schema is automatically detected. Thereafter, some processing that you want to do, it comes up with predefined templates. Also, if you want to write maybe custom code for your machine, for your processing, again, you need not worry about managing the servers at the back. You just write your code maybe in standard Python or in Spark, and you just pass on the script. Glue will automatically manage the infra and it will execute the code. So you need not worry about setting up a big data cluster for Spark management. So it does everything in a serverless way. Next is you might want to, once the data has been enriched, you might want to generate the reports. We did talk about the trends. We did talk about the insights that we're getting from the customer's interaction or customer's communication through natural language ways, Twitter feeds, machine learning, the emails and other stuff. So you might want to generate the reports. You might want to aggregate the data. How many, for example, if a customer is, how many customers actually have a positive sentiment, for example, on one particular area, or if a customer is inquiring about a product, so which products are being inquired most. So these are the common reports that every organizations might be looking at. So you would want to run some queries to get those reports. In the conventional way, you will take this entire data to in a tabular structure, maybe in a database or a data warehouse, and then run the query. You will have to define the proper schema. You will have to run the queries there. Here in this serverless architecture, Glue automatically identified the schema, and Athena is a service which lets you run the queries directly on the object storage. That means the storage where data was kept by comprehend or transcribe, Athena can use the schema identified by Glue and can run the queries directly. Now these files can be JSON files, can be CSV files, can be optimized Parquet files. Athena can run the queries directly on those files without you setting up any server-based or database schema-based setup. Now next is getting those dashboards and insights. So QuickSight is a service which can use Athena as a backend, and it's a BI tool which allows drag and drop based charts and the reports that you want to create. QuickSight can connect with Athena. Athena can make the queries to S3, and finally your entire pipeline without setting up any server is created for your entire analytics. So starting from the base where the call was being recorded to the dashboard, this entire pipeline in a serverless mode can be automated, and we did talk about a service called step functions there. So this is the entire pipeline that we have. Now, the common question here is, so we did what about the vernacular languages? So transcribe, comprehend, they will support, I mean, they keep on adding more languages, but still there, I mean, there are hundreds of languages in the world. So if we need to use some vernacular language, or if customer is using some vernacular language, then how to identify that language, how to process that language, how to do the analytics on that. So there, in this entire pipeline, we'll just focus on one part here. So in AWS stack, I mean, this slide is very heavy and seems like there are many services, but if we focus, there are multiple services that help on the NLP use cases, which give, like we did talk about comprehend, we did talk about transcribe, but still if there are some languages not supported by transcribe or comprehend, then the second layer, second tier of SageMaker allows you to build your own custom models. You already have good corpus of data being collected in your call center where the calls are coming from. You have lots of data from the mails, from the Twitter feeds. So a lot of data is already there in multiple languages as well. SageMaker allows you to build your custom models. So the languages which are not being supported by some of the services above. So SageMaker allows you to build custom models. Just going a bit in detail here before getting into the SageMaker on the vernacular approach. No, so how it will happen is, we did talk about transcription of audio, processing of text, and text analytics. So the process will start like, you need to do transcription of audio in multiple languages. The process will remain same. Only thing is, we need to bring in few more models to replace the transcribe. If transcribe is supporting, I mean, the languages that you're looking out for, say you are looking out for, say, any 5 or 7 languages, transcribe supports say 4 languages, and for 1 or 2 or 3 more languages, you need to build a custom model. In that case, we need to build 3 more models or in SageMaker for supporting the additional languages. We need to detect that language, and then we need to do the processing of that language. So these additions or these blocks have to be custom built, which SageMaker allows you to build. And this is how it works. Like SageMaker you can create custom models for detecting the language. You can build custom models for transcribing, and you can build custom models for processing of the text in the particular language. You can choose to use SageMaker native algorithms. SageMaker supports multiple algorithms in the service itself, or you can choose to bring in any open source framework. Normally people prefer to use TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet. So these all frameworks can be used with SageMaker. So you can bring in your own frameworks, or maybe if you have some other models, instead of building the custom model, if you have some other model trained somewhere else, you can again bring to the SageMaker, so that model is deployed here and can be made part of the entire pipeline. So that can also be done. And thereafter, the text analytics part remains exactly same. And this is a kind of extensible model. That means if you need to support only one language, so only one block you need to enhance. Tomorrow, if you feel that more languages need to be added in the entire pipeline, just keep on adding the required blocks, and the entire pipeline will remain same. Just giving a bit of more details how SageMaker is working or helping in building the custom models. So in entire machine learning pipeline, we have multiple steps. We transcribe, comprehend, we're actually abstracting this entire complexity. SageMaker is helping it automate it. The underlying infrastructure complexity, SageMaker will abstract completely, but it will give you flexibility of managing the pipeline there. So we have to go for the prepare stage. When the data is coming in machine learning, we have to first prepare the data. We have to choose the right algorithm. for a machine learning model that we want to build. Then we have to train and tune the model. We have to train the model based on the language that, or based on the algorithm that we have chosen, and then we have to tune it. We have to choose the right hyperparameters for the algorithm that we have chosen, and then debug the models. If the models are not giving us good output, good metrics, then we have to debug those models. And finally, we have to ensure that if we are building multiple if we are training multiple models, we should manage and we should have a control that, okay, 20, 30, 40 or X number of models have to be built before the production grade model comes out. So manually managing that stuff is difficult. So SageMaker also helps you manage those runs. And finally, once those models are trained, then they need to be deployed in production. We need to monitor the output, that how the models are performing. We need to also validate at times with the human intervention, that how the model output is, so that we can ensure that yes, if model output is not good enough, then we can go into the cycle again and refresh the model. And finally, if we need to support a large volume of transactions or inferences or in the production level, then we need to ensure that the scalability is there. So typical cloud scalability, like when there is a peak, more resources should be allocated. When there is less number of load, when there is less load, then resources should be reduced. So this entire machine learning pipeline for training, tuning, deploying the model is handled or supported by SageMaker. That means for you just need to focus on building the model part, or the part that is undifferentiated. So setting up the infrastructure, tuning the model, or managing the training runs, it is automatically taken care by SageMaker. And how? Just giving an idea, just giving some view on the component base. So this is a long pipeline. Here we need to do multiple steps, as we talked about. And in the standard software development, we know that there are IDEs, integrated development environments. But when it comes to machine learning, we do all these steps. For example, data preparation, annotation, or model build or training, everything, we normally go to multiple different tools. But with SageMaker, we have a web-based ID, single ID, which allows you to perform all these steps from the same ID. That means you need not go to multiple tools, just one single tool, one interface, everything consolidated. Second, if you have to build some machine learning models automatically, so in typical terms, we call it AutoML. So a SageMaker gives the AutoML support. So you can provide your structured data, and you can just choose that what type of problem it is. It's a standard classification or regression or these kind of problems. And then SageMaker will automatically choose the algorithm, automatically tune the parameters. It will also make changes in the features at times. So automatic feature engineering. So it does all that stuff. So as an organization, all the boilerplate stuff is done by SageMaker automatically for you, your domain expertise, and your functional and domain knowledge is more important.
So Sachin, one question which has been, which is quite been asked by many people is, how many Indic languages does AWS SageMaker support today?
So for SageMaker, it is the custom model we are talking about. So Transcribe and Comprehend are the ready services, which you can just consume with the APIs or SDKs. But when here SageMaker, we are introducing for those languages which are not supported by Transcribe and Comprehend. So SageMaker allows you to build your custom models. So as such, SageMaker itself, we won't say that supports any language, but yes, if you are building any model, you have the data corpus and you want to build a custom model, so SageMaker will allow you to build that model with the framework of your own choice.
Okay, so another question that I have, which has been asked by quite many times, is that how can such a tool be used to respond to voice-based query of users accessing the public services?
So we did talk about one service called Connect. So, and the second service, one more service is Lex actually, which we have not talked in this flow, but Lex is a service which lets you create the chatbots. So on a public website, say if somebody wants to do some conversation, So somebody might want to do write in the chat, in the text form. Lex also supports the voice form. So if somebody wants to use the voice interface, somebody can speak, and Lex will convert that audio to the text, and finally it will pass on to the backend for the next step. So both Connect and Lex allow voice-based conversation. In fact, Lex Connect also uses the Lex at the back.
Lovely. So another question which is has been asked by a few more people is this, that the customer data is collected through multiple channels. Now it might be direct or indirect channels. So how is privacy maintained with customer-centric data? So are there any consents being taken, or is it aligned with GDPR regulations and all?
So here, when we are saying customer data being collected, so see the channels actually. We are saying that call center or the customer calls. So any call that is coming to the organization, it's just, I mean, organization has the right to store those calls. Plus, when it comes to the some social media channels, so we are not saying that we will go to any social media channel or any Twitter feed or and collect the data. It's like somebody responding to particular organizations' Twitter feed. So organizations normally have the right to keep those data. Coming next on the privacy part, that once the data has been collected, it is being stored on the storage areas. So all the features or parameters to make the data secure are available already. So we have a service called IAM, Identity and Access Management, which lets you define who will be able to access data at what granular level and what actions need to be performed. So those tools are available based on different industry standards. Financial industry has a very strong regulatory standard. So based on this industry standard, you can set your own settings or permissions and access guidelines, and accordingly you can configure the system.
So I'll probably add on to that,
Sure.
Madhav, a little more.
Sure.
Now, look, the privacy and the data regulations, etc., are always the domain of the organization. So what the organization is actually subscribed to or put in, or the law of the land is, it will be driven by that, right? The tools around it that Sachin's been run through will essentially adapt to those policies. The tools by themselves aren't making policies. They are not the ones that will go and fetch data from a Facebook channel if it is illegal to do so. If the policy says that a customer consent is required as far as GDPR regulations are concerned or the EU regulations are concerned, then yes, the consent must be taken by the organization before they move forward in capturing any of this data. I think the intent is that if assuming that the regulatory framework and the policies around it are completely taken care, then what are the technical tools available for you to achieve the following tasks, which is what Sachin just ran through. So that's my take on it.
Thank you, Kanishk. Yes, Sachin, please continue.
Sure, thanks, Madhav. So we were talking about different steps actually that SageMaker will be supporting. So we did talk about the preparation. We said that data is already available, already collected. Very first common question is that data is available, but it is not annotated. So SageMaker has one feature called Ground Truth, which lets you define your templates on annotation, and then you can use, you can ask your team to annotate the data. So the data annotation, plus thereafter multiple processing tasks have to be done. You have to choose your algorithm, you have to do multiple processing stuff. SageMaker has lots of pre-built notebooks available so that you do not start from scratch. So out of thousands of notebooks that are available, you will certainly find one or the other use case for different kind of data processing, different kind of data analysis. You can take the cue from that, or you can use that as is from the examples and start from there on. Thereafter, coming to the training part, the big point here is we know that cloud is giving huge infra. You need larger servers for your machine learning training, for running complex algorithm, complex frameworks, but the cost might become a factor if you continuously run very large servers, GPU based servers. SageMaker brings in a capability where it lets you manage the training and infra. That means when you push your training job, and you can also specify that, okay, what size of server will you be needing? So SageMaker will automatically start the server, the training instance, and when the training is over, it will automatically shut down or terminate the training instance. That means you do not need to continuously run your larger infrastructures there. So everything managed by SageMaker itself. Next is about the tuning. So we know that normally in the industry, people do sequential training. So they build one model, they see the output, model metric is not good, they go and change the hyperparameter, then they train the second time, third time, n number of times. It takes huge time. Plus people people have to put in their huge domain knowledge to understand the algorithm and then tune that, how algorithm works, how particular algorithms hyperparameter tuning works. SageMaker has capability of automatic hyperparameter tuning. That means you just specify the range of hyperparameters, that within what range should they remain, and SageMaker can intelligently choose the right hyperparameter values. You can tell that, okay, build the n number of models, 10, 20 models. SageMaker will choose the right set of hyperparameters, will build multiple models, and will at the end 20 models will be built, and just taking an example that 20 models are built, and you get the metric of all of those models with the right hyperparameters, and you can choose that what is the best model, and you can start using it immediately. And when you are building so many models, you need to manage and track that what model was built, what hyperparameters were chosen, what features were chosen. So SageMaker can help you manage those training runs, and it can list all those training runs for you so that you can refer them later. In fact, you can do a comparison that, okay, I ran that one model 3 days back. Now I trained one model now. How do they fare? What were the parameters chosen? And what parameters impacted the metric? So all these things can be done from within the SageMaker IDE only. And finally, it comes to the deployment. It's just one-click deployment again. Whatever model that you have built, now you can ask SageMaker to deploy. So SageMaker will automatically set it up. The typical cloud auto scalability that we talk about, it sets it in the auto scaling mode. That means when a load becomes high, you define the configurations policies. When the load becomes high, the more resources, more servers for the deployment will be added. When the load becomes low, the servers will be released. So all that stuff SageMaker does automatically. And for the automatically managing and monitoring the model, it can detect the drift, how it is happening from the past observations or from the other models. Plus, you can deploy multiple models together. You can do A/B testing, different business use case that organizations are looking out for. SageMaker supports in the deployment use case. So point here is the underlying complexity of managing the pipeline is abstracted by SageMaker. For you, we were talking about that NLP models. We were talking about building the NLP models. So the underlying pipeline can be automated and can be taken care by SageMaker. For you, it becomes the focus area is that you know your domain, you know how customers are reacting, what features, what additional information you want to provide to your model. So you remain in the you remain focused on in your domain, and underlying IT and other ML pipeline infrastructure is taken care by SageMaker. So your model development becomes much faster and it is more effective. Just giving one idea that a reference architecture, how models have been built over SageMaker. So normally people, the machine learning guys prefer to use notebooks. So SageMaker provides the notebook instances and the notebooks in the SageMaker Studio as well. Whatever code is being written for machine learning can be committed. AWS MLOps services allow the checking in the code. Code commit is GitHub Git compatible. Entire code pipeline can be created and can be triggered. From there onwards, whatever models are built, they can be the training can start automatically as new data comes up. New training instances can come up automatically, can read the data. SageMaker training can be initiated. Finally, that training model can be kept in this storage once again. And for the hosting purpose, models can be hosted in the SageMaker as we talked, deployed. And finally, a website can be or an API can be created that lets you do the inference on the model. And these APIs can further be integrated with the enterprise applications as well to make it a real automatic pipeline. So this entire flow of automatic training, automatic deployment can be created on SageMaker. So point here is we were talking about a very complex flow from where the audio recordings are coming to a dashboard or to integration with some other system. So it can fully be automated without any worry. So this is how we have solved, or we have been able to solve multiple use cases of the automation for the NLP and for non-NLP as well. So this was on the omni-channel one use case, the complete architecture and the pipeline. So any queries or questions?
Sure. Thank you, Sachin, for this. So Sachin, one question which has come up right now is that can these AWS services be used by a team which does not have a lot of experience in NLP to take? That is, are these services user-friendly enough that an inexperienced team can deploy a simple NLP model in production?
So the services that we talked, like Transcribe, Comprehend, they are the ready services. There you do not need to know anything about machine learning. They can be accessed with simple SDK, any language of your choice, say .NET, Java, Python. They are available. I mean, there are APIs or SDKs available for those languages, so you can simply consume. When it comes to the training part, as we said in the Comprehend, so it's just like you know your data, you know your annotations, and pass it on. Comprehend will train itself. So yes, they can be directly used without any ML knowledge.
So on Amazon Comprehend, there's a question says which the attendee wants to know, that someone writes in Romanized Hindi, for example, "Kya chal raha hai" in English. I mean, the script is English, the Roman script. So can Amazon Comprehend identify that and figure out what it means and respond accordingly?
So when you say Romanized Hindi or Comprehend, as of date, I feel does not support Hindi as a language. It supports English and some foreign languages as well. But as we said, whatever languages right now are not supported by the ready services, they can be built in the SageMaker.
Okay. Lovely. So we are through with these questions for the day. Any more questions? I would request attendees to tap into the Q&A box. We have a couple of more minutes to go, and then we can wrap it up. So not many questions coming in now. So Sachin and Kanish, thank you so much for taking us through to this entire session on how to tune into the voice of customer and to create a pipeline with serverless analytics to go from a conventional to a transformational technique in order to serve a customer. So we thank you on behalf of NASSCOM's DSAI team. We thank you for your session today, and we look forward to many more in the future. And for the attendees, thank you very much for attending this session, and wish you all the very best. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.